Alright, so previously I have talked about making a video on how to install Odin, and so what we're going to take a look at is basically how do I get the Odin code and how do I build it and so on. This won't be some super in-depth thing, it's simply just sort of showing you the place to look or whatever, right? So first of all, we can take a look at the documentation here and see that there are tagged releases and so on. And so you could go this way. Personally, this is not what I do. Absolutely, you could. Not saying you can't, but yeah, this is not what I do. Instead, what I am doing is basically I'm getting it from the same place. I have, of course, a fork of Odin that I usually update and so on. And I have a repo that I have cloned down on my computer. So you would just say here, let's say we weren't in this editor window here, we would say git. So for example, I'm in my Odin folder here, git clone this address right into the Odin directory. And then when we do have that directory, what we'll have in here is the build script and so on. And so the main things to kind of think about here is what do I need to have installed in order to build this and so on. And we can find these instructions, in fact, if we go here. Let's see. Possibly it's getting started should definitely be the place we need to look at. And so here you can see the requirements for the different platforms. For Windows, it's possible you're already set up. But yeah, there you just need Visual Studio effectively. I don't know, the Mac stuff, you know, whatever. You probably already know what to do. The idea is to get LLVM, a version of LLVM, basically, and I guess Xcode you need, whatever. Linux is fairly straightforward. It's basically mostly about LLVM here. So we need LLVM, and 14 works. I can tell you it works fine. You can't use 15. So in any case, any way you can get 14, that's going to be fine, right? On some distros, distributions of Linux, this will look certain ways and so on. If you're using Pacman, you're going to be looking for LLVM 14. So we can see this here. And once we have LLVM 14 or 13, 12, whatever it might be important because you might actually have 15 installed or something like this, right? Because you might need that for other reasons, right? So what you actually want to do and what you'll find is if you run build Odin sh here, first of all, you want to pass release to this. But if you just run it and you have all kinds of LLVM installations and so on, you'll find that it will complain, right? So here I have LLVM 16, right? It must be a base version smaller than 15. So what you can do is you can pass this here. You set an environment variable, LLVM config, to whichever is your LLVM config 14 value. You can find this file in many different ways. I'm not going to go over exactly how to do that. You can search your user bin, you can search whatever, your root directory for LLVM config 14. I recommend probably maybe the FD tool for this. It's a fairly reasonably good tool. For this. So if we were to do that, we would say, for example, LLVM config 14 like this in root, and it will find it like this, right? The binary should be named this, so it shouldn't really be that much of an issue finding it. Actually, we could try this. Maybe 15 exists. Certainly 16 might. No, we have 14. That's really it, right? So again, we have this LLVM underscore config equals this, and then we make release, right? And if you want to upgrade Odin, and you would, well, you could just say git pull, here, for example. And then we could do this. Of course, I forget, then I'll get this. And now we're making it in release mode. This takes slightly longer. The non-release build is ridiculously fast. Your first build of this is very likely to take longer. I wouldn't say it takes a long time, but of course this depends on your computer, etc., etc. But, well, it is written in C++. I don't think it's particularly challenging C++ necessarily for the compiler. But yes, it does take some time. If that's an issue, maybe you should go with the nightly releases. Now we have it built, and now I have a new version of Odin. That's really about it. I usually just do it like this. I'm running on master or main. Pretty much I track this all the time. If you don't want to do that, if you want to build from source, but you don't want to download or you don't want to be on main, you can simply say, hey, I'm going to look at the tags, and I'm just going to go with these here, right? Here you can see dev 2023-08, and then 09 will come out, and so on and so forth, right? That's a good way to sort of say, yeah, I'm on something mostly stable, etc., right? I'm on a little bit slower release cadence. Not on main. I'm not tracking main, right? And so that could be a reasonable way to go about it. Again, you can also use the releases here. So yeah, that would be how to get Odin on your computer. And once, of course, when you've built here, importantly, what you actually get here is the Odin executable. And so if you do want this in your path, for example, I happen to have my bin directory from my home folder in my path, right? So I have this bin here, and then I have Odin linked to my built Odin, right? Likewise, OLS, the Odin language server, which we can go over in another video, is really just a git clone and then build. So that one is so straightforward. Really, honestly, I'm pretty sure you can just do that one yourself. But yeah, that's how to build Odin, how to get Odin, sort of like how to stay up to date and so on. So that's it. I hope this was a small, useful, nice video for you. And have a good one. Ciao.